So it looks like Arsenal have their second signing of the season wrapped up. That's because I think we're all assuming, as we've been told, that Zubimendi is done. Kepa Arrizabalaga, a £5 million release clause, is going to be activated by Arsenal, and he will be the backup number 2 for next season. It was David Ornstein who came out and said Arsenal to sign Kepa Arrizabalaga from Chelsea. Deal in process being finalised after 30-year-old Spanish goalkeeper agreed to join Arsenal and fight for place. £5 million release clause in the Chelsea contract will need activating, and he credits Goonerverse and a few others in The Athletic. And I think it's fair to say the minute The Athletic got hold of this 2 days ago, credits for Fabrizio Romano, came through the news as well pretty quickly as well. I don't know if he was the first, he might have been. The minute that all happened, I thought, this is probably going to happen, you know. And I probably needed a good couple hours to digest those thoughts. I did a initial reaction to everything Kepa related on the channel. I was giving a load of transfer updates. And look, my overall kind of takeaway is this. 25 million on Johan Garcia didn't seem sensible. Nor did it actually even feel like a deal we could do. I think his level has grown beyond I will compete for a place at Arsenal or be a number 2, which is probably the state last season. Now it's a case of this is like one of the most sought after goalkeepers right now. And I don't think he was ever going to come and just sort of happily be number 2 to David Raya, not in a World Cup year. So I think the Garcia thing we had to move on from. And part of me is fighting the urge to say, no, hold Arsenal to a higher standard. If that's the best goalkeeper on the market that we could have got, we should have gone and got him. There should be competition everywhere. But I don't think that's completely realistic. So then we go on to Kepa. Now, what do I think of Kepa? I'll be honest, I never liked him at Chelsea, ever. I just didn't. I didn't really like him from a personality perspective. Sounds awful, I don't know the guy. But, you know, from like not wanting to be subbed off when Sarri tried to take him off in the cup final. And to be honest, sometimes things can stick with you. I always use the Yuri Tielemans example, where there was a clip of him struggling to run back, and then people kind of took that as, well, he gets overrun in midfield, right? So things can stick with you about players. So what do I think of Kepa in terms of what people are saying? When you look at what he's done in recent years, I mean, he's been at Real Madrid as a sort of emergency signing there. And I think he had a good season at Bournemouth. Bournemouth did well, and Kepa was very much a part of that. Now, for £5 million, remember he came for £72 million at the time. I think it was a record for a goalkeeper Chelsea had spent on him. For £5 million to be a number 2, 30 years old, Premier League, Champions League proven, and also someone who has played at a good level. Like, whether you rate him or not, I think we were always judging him amongst the goalkeeping elites at the time, weren't we? Because he was a £72 million signing. As a backup for £5 million, I mean, I don't know if there's a better deal on the market. I don't know that. But I do understand that there is a sense of like, why is there always a Chelsea player coming in? Why is there always someone that Chelsea don't want and we just do them a favour and pick them up? Now, to be fair, everyone says they always don't work. Bless Matisse. I want to shout out Matisse, obviously, with the Big Six now in Johannesburg. And he said something like, Chelsea have always got the better deal out of the exchanges between Chelsea and Arsenal. I think he tweeted that somewhere. Now, maybe he's being facetious. He probably means a lot of that. But for me, David Luiz, for 2 years, did his job. I thought he was good. He won an FA Cup. He was outstanding in that semi-final and final en route to actually beating Chelsea and winning the Champions League. We did not win the Champions League. And winning the FA Cup. Jorginho for 12 million. 2.5 years we got out of him. I thought he was brilliant. Like, for what he was meant to be in the squad. If Kepa can be, as a backup goalkeeper, what Jorginho has been as a squad player, I'll be very happy. Kai Havertz, yeah. Ashley Cole, and plenty others. I totally agree. We tend to not, Willian, Sterling, we tend to not come out of these deals looking good. But I'd be amazed if there's a situation in which this looks like a really bad signing, and it would need for David Raya to get seriously injured, which is just incredibly unfortunate, and for Kepa to therefore have a shocker when he steps in. And I think this is a very decent goalkeeper we're signing. I'm not his biggest fan, and there is something about constantly buying players from Chelsea, but if there's ever a position I'm not going to lose sleep about, it's the backup goalkeeper. I'm not saying that it's a position we shouldn't care about. Of course, it's a position we should care about. It still matters. It's still part of the squad. They're still going to have to play football in these cup runs that I keep demanding Arsenal go far in. But I'm not sort of like, we'd have to be signing a complete joker. This is going to sound so rude. Runnison, right? Having having Martinez and Leno and going, right, well, Martinez is off, we'll bring in Runnison to just do a job as a number 2. Same with Matt Turner. They're the ones I'm going to have a real problem with. Kepa Arrizabalaga is not in that category, not for me. So, yeah, fine with the deal. Absolutely fine with the deal. It's just quite funny. We're just quite hilarious. Maybe my tune has changed slightly since a few days ago, but you get used to it. You internalise it, you think about it, and you go, actually, this kind of makes sense. So there we go. Arsenal seem to have got the backup goalkeeper sorted, the 6 sorted. Gabriel, Saliba, Saka contracts are either signed or getting signed or whatever, so that's all good news. We've covered it here on the Goonerverse too. By the way, the updates on this channel will be way more regular. As you can see, I'm back in front of my... I'm in my living room, but the normal white wall. This could be any white wall anywhere, so as you can see, I'm home. Don't know how obvious that was, but I'm home. So the updates will be much more regular now. And we'll be having I've been doing kind of roundups recently. There will be sort of a video per sort of bit of news, so I can really kind of give you some depth of thought around those things. But other things to talk about. Yesterday, the Sesko stuff was really advancing. Miguel Delaney, Ben Jacobs, John Cross, Fabrizio Romano, everyone, apart from The Athletic. Why is Ornstein so quiet? Almost everyone coming out and saying, this is really moving along now. Arsenal are advancing talks for Sesko. Sesko wants to move, and that seems to be where the focus is. I have nothing else to say. That is the update. Let's see if it happens. But it does feel like that is the one Arsenal are really, really pursuing. But could they also go for Mohamed Kudus? If you bear with me 1 sec, I want to get my notifications, because I was tagged by Max, big up Max, on Twitter. Where is it? Okay. So, ZRAFC was aggregating news by ex-West Ham United employee. That's at XWHU employee. Very much the team news and ticks of the West Ham world. Now, when the Declan Rice stuff was happening, this guy was on it. I mean, his information was sensational. I don't know if it's still 2 years on as good. I'm not sure, but I've got no reason to kind of doubt it. And I think people are right to kind of credit him and source information she gives. Now, the news is that Arsenal are among clubs, this is what they've had to say, Arsenal are among clubs considering a move for Mohamed Kudus, whose preference is to remain in the Premier League. There are rumours of an £85 million release clause. Chelsea have been linked a lot recently. I think Ben Jacobs has been talking a lot on Chelsea's interest in Mohamed Kudus. And look, here's very simply how I feel about it. I'm a massive, massive, massive fan of Mohamed Kudus. And I smile because you'll know it. If you watch my channel regularly, you know that. I think he is an upgrade on the left, even though he's typically a right-sided player. I think he's an upgrade on the left for us. I think he's cover for Bukayo Saka. I think we need that. We need to be able to rest Bukayo Saka at times. I think you could even go the front 4 and play him in one of the central positions, either off the striker, or you could even have him as the false 9. In fact, a lot of the analysis I did on the Goonerverse about Bryan Mbeumo, I think you can apply a lot of it to Mohamed Kudus. Kudus doesn't excel on the numbers front. That's where players like Cunha and Mbeumo do. But I firmly believe Kudus is the better player of the Cunhas, the Mbeumo's, the Kuduses of the Premier League world, right? Those players that feel like they're ready to explode with maybe a next move. And to be fair, I think Kudus has been sensational at West Ham, alongside Jared Bowen. And having the two of them has meant playing with their positions so they could fit the two of them in. That's how good they are. Neither has really always played their regular or natural position because of the other being there. But they're two gems that West Ham have. And Mohamed Kudus, for me, he has played regular minutes as a striker for Ajax. That's important. We're going to come back to that. He's a player we wanted 2 years ago. He can play across the front 3. Slightly different to Mbeumo. I think he does have that more raw, natural ball-carrying pace, which I think we could do with on the left. I think that gives us a different dimension there. But crucially, like I said, he's a moments player, or like I've said in previous videos and over the last year or so, he's a moments player, Kudus, who can really produce things out of nothing. Look at the goal catalogue for West Ham. It is absolutely sensational. And I think Arsenal could do with someone who can bail us out, whether it be with a great cross, with a great strike, with a dribble into the box, with something. He's got really good strength. He might not be 6 foot whatever, but he's really, really strong. Very intelligent footballer. I think he'd be brilliant for us. I would love for us to go for Kudus. Now, I mentioned the striker thing. I think the reason this is important is I don't think Arteta wants to make a signing that ties him to anything he has to do next season. I think that's part of the reason why they prefer Sesko over Gyökeres, because of the development time, because of the age, and because of the managing Kai Havertz situation. And I think Kudus fits in that, in the sense that I think Kudus, you could play him on the right for Saka. You could start him on the left. You could play him up front if Martinelli or Trossard are in good form. And I still believe Arteta rates those two players. It means he can do a little bit more with the striker position. He can kind of add a winger and a striker, but kind of have two extra options on top of Havertz and Jesus as well there. And I just think it gives him a bit more flexibility. You could even put Kudus in midfield if things got really desperate. So I think his variety, the variety he gives you in terms of the way you can use him, is another reason why Arteta and Arsenal would want him. But let's see. The fact that Arsenal are one of the clubs considering making a move makes me happy. But let's see. I would love this move to happen. I will say, for everything I've just said there, at £85 million, I don't see Arsenal doing it. If they could get Sesko and Kudus at 65 each, so you're looking at 130 million, I think they would do both those bits of business. But if Sesko's looking around 75, 80, then I think they're going to be tempted by Leroy Sané. If Kudus is an £85 million player, then I think they'll go for the 60 million of Gyökeres. I think that's how they're going to balance these things out. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on those three updates. Kepa is signing, Sesko talks advancing, and now Kudus is in the mix. I thought he would be at some point, but yeah, glad to see his name there. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll catch you all in a bit.